and I hope that you didn't overindulge. But I do hope you ate, or as a friend of mine say, ate your butt off. But that's not what I'm making this video for. Um, I happened to see a report by someone named Micha Ballard. I don't know who Misha is, but of late they've taken to typing their ideas on Substack and posting them on Nextdoor. Um, and this one I looked at with some interest because Mr. Ballard says, I believe it's Mr. Ballard, says, and I'm located here just so I can come back to where I was. But here it is, newsfeed Nextdoor. There it is, right there. Okay, right here. This is what Mr. Ballard comes up with. He writes, uh, this is his editorial. And he says, in Oakland, the condition of the streets has become shorthand for something bigger. Drivers feel the bent rims and shuttered suspensions. Cyclists feel it when a crack suddenly becomes a hazard, and so on. Then he says the residents see new parking meters around Lake Merritt, hear about BART fare hikes, and read about bond measures. And he says daily experience and the official story do not always line up in the way that feels clear. He says editorial looks at what the public record says, the condition of Oakland streets, the money that is supposed to fix them, and the other costs facing residents, the legal obligations around road safety, and who's responsible for making decisions. He makes a lot of assumptions here, and I actually went to read his paper. This is his paper, Oakland Streets and Public Trust. And it's based on much of its assumptions and assertions on the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC's report where they score local pavements, all right? And then he discusses Oakland's own pavement management reporting, claiming it shows a similar picture, slight improvement compared with a decade ago, but still short of what MTC classifies as good. MTC. And this is where Misha makes a gigantic mistake. I'll explain my bias against MTC succinctly. MTC, going way back to 1996, had a gentleman named Ray Brady whose work I love because Ray Brady was interested in global modeling. We had great discussions. But that interest in accurate, detailed world models stopped with him. And the damage that MTC's analysis does is based on, Merry Christmas to you too, is based on numbers they just throw up without giving any background data or a worldview or equations or studies or year. They just throw the numbers up there and they expect you to, then they use the media to establish the legitimacy, and they expect you to accept these numbers without question. And that's what Mr. Ballard is doing. And that's why I really object to this approach. But let me go a giant step further, showing you the document that he's drawing his information from. It's this one right here. It is this one. This is the document. Payment Conditions of Bay Area Jurisdictions 2024, okay? It's just 9 pages, folks. And all it has is Payment Conditions Index. No explanation as to how this index is determined. Look, you have the title here, the page, and then it immediately dives into these classifications. All right? And then good is over here with all of these, with Burlingame, Atherton, San Ramon, Los Gatos, Foster City, Emeryville, Dublin, Danville, Daly City, and Coma, and Yountville and Brentwood. Did anyone bother to check the average household incomes of these cities combined. Mr. Ballard didn't. It's certainly higher than Oakland, and this is good, right? So we get Clayton, Menlo Park, of course, another high-income area that's got right now. It's got a flood problem. Mill Valley, where my buddy Vern lives, and Pleasanton and Portola Valley, South San Francisco, Lafayette, uh, where the East Bay, and located in the East Bay, first Barton line over there, exit, I believe. After you get through the tunnel, Morgan Hill, Ross, San Francisco as a whole, then Alameda County as a whole. But then in perfect MTC fashion, we have the good, right, where they take the whole county, Contra Costa and Walnut Creek. But when it gets to Fair, and then it gets to poor, all right, or at risk, yeah, then we see Oakland. Without any explanation as to how we got here, there's Oakland. All right? There's no explanation how we got here. All right? Is it tied to our income? How did we get here? Take a look at this entire document. And it stops here. 7 of 9, 8 of 9, right? Then gives you the aggregate city and county index. Okay? And then year-over-year comparison of payment conditions. All right? And that's it. Okay? There is no source material this is based on. None. There's no source material that this is based on. This is ridiculous. If this were a research project at Cal and City Planning, the person who created it would get an F. But this is MTC. This is a Metropolitan Transportation Commission, which consists regularly of DCRP graduates. This is ridiculous. My point is that MTC has an inherent anti-Oakland bias. So we could have situations in Oakland where the streets, are much better than they were before. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf made it one of her objectives to improve street conditions and directed a good deal of money toward that. That's not reflected in these statistics at all. There's no conversation about the past. Mr. Ballard just points to, or Mr. and Mrs. Micha Ballard points to current conditions and does not even take a look back. And yet we're supposed to base policy on this incomplete report. He tells us he's confused, and there's no wonder. Mr. Ballard is relying on an organization that produces empty information. It's empty. I'm sorry, Mr. Ballard, there is no there in terms of where these numbers come from. Where do the numbers come from? How are they determined? And why do they look very much like angels and devils on shoulders of the people responsible for the report who represent the Metropolitan Transportation Commission? I can no more trust this report than I can trust something coming from the Bureau of Labor, the Bureau of Economic Analysis under the current administration. Would you? Okay? This seems like it's just a vomiting up the typical prejudices that Oakland has always been plagued with. Now, in the case of MTC and high-speed rail, what I experienced back in 1996, post Ray Brady and his involvement, Ron Dearden and a group of people in San Jose really wanted high-speed rail to come into San Jose. They wanted a terminus in San Jose. I was determined, working for Oakland Mayor Elihu Harris, to get a high-speed rail terminus, at least 2, in Oakland. My argument was that the East Bay had greater population than the West Bay. It did, by a factor of roughly a million almost. In fact, the original MTC report, which divided the Bay Area into these different subzones uh, determined by population, if you actually read it, it favored the East Bay. And I brought that up to MTC. Well, guess what, folks? The MTC report writers changed their zones in a very awful, sneaky, and I argue illegal and criminal way. Those are the words that I'm using to this day. What they did was their original report rightly had Fremont in the East Bay. Now, you know, and I know, if you know the Bay Area, that Fremont is regarded, the city of Fremont is regarded as being in the East Bay. And Fremont is part of what county? It's part of Alameda County, which is in where? The East Bay. Do you know that the MTC people in this rigged report took the southern portion of Alameda County and put it in the West Bay just by saying, oh, they did what I call the advent of fake news. Okay. Oh, it's it's right over here on the map, but we think, oh, Mr. Abraham, that's the West Bay, and that's exactly what they said at the hearing. I near blew a gasket. Okay. I near blew a gasket. I don't trust anything MTC comes up with. They vomit up prejudices about Oakland and the East Bay. They have done it for years, decades. That's why high-speed rail's focus has been in the West Bay and not the East Bay, when East Bay has the most population. Because of those knuckleheads. And I said it just like that. Okay, Mr. Ballard? Just like that. Yeah, I'm still steamed about it. What we were supposed to have, and what I lobbied Quentin Kopp, who was on the MTC board, to vote for, and he pushed for until they got a hold on, was a terminus in West Oakland at an expanded BART station, designed in such a way that a double-decked Bay Bridge would accommodate this new set of tracks that would come right into Oakland and West Oakland. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful new place to develop a kind of rebirth of West Oakland around BART. All right? With tremendous affordable housing, light manufacturing, offices, high rises where apartments existed, places where there are bars, restaurants, music areas for jazz, and everything designed in such a way that the rich part paid for the other part. The part that called for affordable housing, called for affordable venues for businesses, called for subsidies for arts and entertainment businesses that will provide jazz. But nope. And I said because we've allowed jazz to die because of these cost issues in America. All right? So Oakland should have a West Oakland high-speed rail terminus. Instead, what they did was they routed Oakland out of the picture. That's what they did. They had the high-speed rail coming up from the West Bay through San Jose and going into Central California and then up, totally avoiding Oakland. It was garbage. Complete garbage. It's garbage then, it's garbage now. I'm a fan of high-speed rail, but I am not in love with how the MTC bungled that. Moreover, politically, we let those knuckleheads down south control the issue. I respect what Brondier has done in his history. Rest in peace. But it doesn't mean I have to like every aspect of it, especially the one that directly affected me. No, I hated it. The only thing I applaud is that Elihu put me out there to do that work. I did the work. But when Jerry Brown became mayor, he didn't pick up our fight at all. That's a fact. Subscribe to Zinni62 on YouTube and bookmark ZinniReport.com and OaklandNewsOnline.com. Thank you. Mr. Ballard, I'm at 510-517-7565. Call me anytime. Thank you.